Welcome back. I'd like to chat about a very important and powerful mind hack that is connected to the intuition. Now, most of us know what intuition is. Everybody has the ability of intuition. Intuition simply means intuition, inner teacher or inner guidance. And intuition is something that all of us possess to some form or degree. Some people more than others. I've always realized that intuition played an important role, but I never really knew how to control it. The way that I would usually experience intuition would be either through a voice prompt, a feeling, a picture, an idea, or a sense of or a prompt in a certain direction, or a motivational prompt. Whenever I followed my intuition, it was always 100% successful. So there was a time when I thought to myself, if I could be running on my intuition, which is a guidance system for us. In fact, it's a very accurate guidance system. If I could be following my intuition, because I know that my intuition is 100% successful, if I could follow it all of the time, then I'd be in a pretty good place. The problem I found with intuition is that it seemed to happen when it decided to happen. In other words, a piece of intuition would come, I would follow it, or listen to it, or act upon it, and it would be fruitful. The results would be always good. The problem was it was coming so randomly and whenever it wanted to come. And so I never knew when it would come. So there would be gaps in between when I would have intuition that I could use that time if I knew how to use those gaps by adding more intuitive prompts. So I thought about it and I examined how the intuitive process was being delivered to me, how I was receiving the intuitive process. Now, everything that we can see in the physical world, such as this cup, which is real, began from the invisible realm. So what do I mean by that? This cup began as an idea. It began in the invisible. An idea is something that you can't touch. Somebody else can't see your idea until it's manifested. So that cup was first designed and initiated from an idea in the invisible realm, and then it was brought forth and created and manifested into the material realm. This is very much how intuition works. Intuition comes from the invisible realm and can be manifested into the 3D reality. We can also look at intuition as being the 5D or the higher self. This is from my experience. And even higher, accessing the Akashic records. So let's talk 5D and 3D in terms of intuition. So a intuitive prompt comes down from the 5D into my brain. I'm sensitive enough to recognize the intuition. I receive the piece of data, the information, and then I act upon it, and it is successful. What I wanted to do was to be able to increase my intuitive process. I came out with an idea, and I began to implement this idea, and it worked. So when an intuitive prompt came down, I understood that that was a piece of information that was being given to me, and it was traveling from the invisible into being received in the physical by me, and then I would translate that. And in that process, it was creating a pathway or a channel. There had to be a channel for that information to be received by me, to be passed through. Then I realized that if there was a channel coming down, any type of communication goes both ways. That means if there's a piece of information going down, then there must be a channel also open in this opposite direction, traveling back upwards. So I thought about it a little more, and then for some reason I had this picture of an elevator, and I imagined that the elevator was coming down, and when the elevator reached me, the doors opened and there was a delivery of information. That was the intuitive process. What about if I hopped into that elevator, and then when the elevator went back up on that same line of channel, I could go back and actually reverse engineer that back to the source of the 5D, and I could access the 5D. So an elevator comes down, that's intuition. Intuition is a feeling. Intuition is something that, it's a frequency. It's a piece of data that has a frequency. So if I could become more familiar and more aware with that frequency, then I could catch that frequency back up, and I could access the source of that frequency on the 5D. So I began to do that. And what happened was, I was able to begin to consciously access the 5D. And the way I started doing that, and the way I started practicing that was, anytime I had a piece of intuition, which began to come more frequently as well, every time I gained a piece of intuition, I would become very alert to that, and then feel that frequency and become more acquainted with it, build a relationship with that, until I was able to actually consciously go back up that stream and actually access the 5D or the intuitive realm. And what I began to do was use this in my therapy. I could access that channel back up and ask a question from the 5D, because the 5D is a place of all-knowing knowledge. It has a lot more intelligence than the 3D that we generally operate on. So I was able to access a higher level of intelligence and access the answers to some of these mind-boggling cases that I was working with that just really didn't make sense. And so this ability to travel back up to the 5D then allowed me to increase my intuitive connection to actually communicate and develop this channel. And in practicing this, it became stronger, and I'm now able to go consciously into the 5D and access information. And it all came about by recognizing that intuition can be reverse engineered back into that source, and one can have conscious access of the 5D and actually beyond into the Akashic records, if that's an area that one would like to investigate. And it's definitely improved my life, my manifesting abilities. It has many blessings that come with it. So if you like that idea, give it a try. Practice. When your intuition comes in, get a sense of feeling it, and what that feeling of intuition feels like, how you become ignited by that, excited by that, and trace that frequency back up. And I wish you success with that. You can go directly to the source of situations, circumstances, and events and get your own personal answer.